Record it to this computer. Good. So recording has started. I want to record this, and then I'm going to post it online on edsclubs.com so that you can refer back to it. Because what I saw Peter did is some pretty heavy-duty stuff, and I think it's just amazing. Especially, I was thinking to myself, you know, if you're doing a geographic farm, to be able to say to Mr. and Mrs. Jones, well, here's the difference in price if you have this, or if you do this, and so forth. They seem to be able to pull all this pricing up. And I really like the idea. So with that, Peter, I'm going to stop my sharing, and I'm going to introduce Peter, and he can take it from there. Multiple participants. So Peter, you go ahead. You have the right to share the screen now.
Okay,
and,
let me get that
going. You got
going.
it for the next little while, okay?
So share screen, there we go. And I'm going to share my full screen, I guess. So you guys can see my screen, I hope.
We got it.
Very good. Yeah, so thank you so much, Ed. Yeah, so my name is Peter, and I've been doing this for quite a while because I come from a technology background. And what really sort of kicked me a few months ago, I started seeing all this stuff on Facebook from some companies. I won't mention their names, mostly because I can't remember them. And also they're probably going to bother us to hear the name. But they were posting all this stuff about sales in Toronto was down like 97%. And I said, what? So I went and did my own research and I posted them, which was the exact opposite of what they were saying. And I actually went on their Facebook pages and I said, where are you getting this data? Show me how you generated it, because I'm a pretty good data analyst. And even if I wanted to skew the data, if I used every dirty trick I knew to mispresent the data, I still can't get anything that's as depressing as what you're showing. So anyway, I've been using data analytics for quite a while. I find it has quite a few good benefits. And basically the real value we bring to our clients as realtors is the ability to get them the right information, right? So if it's a seller, then we want to show them the good CMA. And if it's a buyer, we want to show them what's going on in the area, not just today, but historically over the past in terms of how price trends have gone and so on. So anyway, I'm just going to go through a certain procedure now, which is well within everybody's capability to do. And it's like anything, right? You might have to practice it a couple of times, but I'll break it down into step by step. And I'm also, I have a little Prezi here if you want. You actually, I already shared the link to it. But I'll go over in high level sort of what this thing entails. And then I'll show you every step and you can just watch the video and do it a couple of times. So first of all, you start by sourcing your data, right? So you're going to get some data from MLS and you're going to do a search. And then here's the trick that makes it work. You copy and paste that data into Excel. And then from Excel, you pull into another tool, which is called Power BI, which is a free download, right? So you get Power BI. You can go to powerbi.com. Now you will see things about, you know, pro level, you can pay $8 a month and stuff. That gives you the ability to host things on websites and stuff, which maybe you want to do that, but just to download the tool and use it has no cost. So within Power BI, you import your Excel data. And then you can produce a number of different visualizations of it. And I'll show you how to do that. And then from there, you can either export it or you can use something like Snagit, which is a screen capture tool. And you can, you know, put it. And I found, because I used to spend maybe anywhere, depending what was going on, $20 to $100 a month on Facebook advertising. And now I don't spend anything. And my Facebook, and I've been busy with other stuff for the past couple of weeks, so I haven't been doing it. But when I was doing it once or twice a week, like I was getting likes and I was getting boosted hundreds of % and stuff. So this is information that people have a desire to see, right? Not all of the, because basically if you look at what realtors say in their advertising, you know, I'm the best, I'm number one, I'm the top of the area. And buyers and sellers don't really care. They care about what's the value of their own property they're selling or the value of the property they want to buy. So if you can show them that, you're going to generate a lot of organic activity and you're going to draw people to your Facebook page and you'll get them to connect with you and then you can sort of, you know, you can nurture the relationship from there. But here's the first workflow we're going to see. So this is our first simplest workflow I'm going to show you. So step number one, I'm going to go to MLS and get some data. and I will show you the little procedure by which we pull it down. So here's MLS, and I just happen to go to an area because I grew up around there, so I've always been kind of interested to see what's going on. But you guys tell me, and somebody say the name of an area which they're maybe curious to get some information about. Don't everybody speak all at once. There's enough time for everybody.
How about Hunter's Glen, southwest corner of Brimley and Lawrence?
All right, so let's go there. So now here I'm just within my simple MLS map functionality. So I'll say go and do search. And this is just a standard search. This is the same whatever you're using it for. So we'll go to map search. Now, depending, you might want to get only new properties if you're doing, you're going in with a buyer's offer and you want to, sort of see other activity, or you might want to get only sales. For right now, I'll go new as well as sold. And I'll go to map search and continue. And sorry, what was that location again, Ed?
It's the southwest corner of Brimley and Lawrence.
Brimley and Lawrence. So we'll go to location. I think it allows flexible searches like that. We'll say Brimley and Lawrence, Toronto. I think it can do that. Oh yeah, good. AI technology. That's good. So roughly around here. Now, one limitation we know about with MLS is you're limited to a maximum of 200 records. Now, if you deeply desire to get more than that, you could copy and paste. You could do multiple searches and assemble them in Excel. But for right now, let's just go around this area. So I'll zoom in. And so right now, this is everything, we've been doing since forever, right? This is just an MLS search. And I'll turn on some of my map layers because I'm also going to grab a copy of this because I'm envisioning maybe I just got a listing in that area. So I want to sort of spotlight it on my social media. So I'm just going to kind of dress it up so I have some stuff here. And let's say now I'm going to go and grab one of my tools. So I'll grab my selector tool and I'll see how far out I can go and still keep it within 200 records. And I can also limit in terms of the date, right? So that's going to be for the past 2 years. So that'll obviously be a lot more. Again, can I hide this panel somehow so it goes out of the way? Okay, good. Now I'll go here. Maybe I want to go the past 45 days. Let's try that. So I'll say last updated. And obviously anything you can do in any search, right? I could do it the last 30 days contracted or the last 30 days sold or whatever. I'm just going to go with updated for right now. And I'm getting, what am I getting? Oh, 10 results. That's not many. All right, so I want to drag this thing out of the way. It's getting in the way.
Go back 180 days.
Yeah.
6 months.
Sure. So we'll say 180.
That's what I usually do.
Yeah. And I could also go a bit bigger in terms of my geographic. So right now that's getting me, oh, okay, I'm just going to extend it a little bit. So see, something else I like this for is sometimes I want to illustrate to a buyer, this side of a certain street and that side, then I do the comparison and I'll show them, to just be on the east side of a certain street, the selling price might be 100,000 more or something. Here I'm up to 130 results. That's probably good enough to work with. Now I'm going to do something else, which is not part of my core reporting workflow, but I'm looking ahead and thinking maybe I want to make a nice thing in Publisher or something. So I'm using a tool called Snagit, and the link is there in your PowerPoint, techsmith.com. You can get the free 30-day trial. Anyway, I'm just going to keep a visualization of this because I'm going to show you something else to do later. So that's safely in my Snagit now. Now let's go here. This is the first part of my workflow. So you see down here, I have my records and I can also do something else. You see here I've customized a column set for Power BI, and I'm not going to go into customizing columns today, but basically you can have your own sort of customized thing. If you're doing, I don't know, commercial in a certain area, it just lets you arrange which columns show up and in which order. But we'll go into that later if people want to know it. So I'm on Power BI, and now I want to do my next activity, which is how do I get this data down to my own local premises, as we call it in data analytics speak. So here's the procedure. And this only works on Chrome. It won't work on Internet Explorer. I don't really know why. I just found by playing around it works in Chrome. So I'm going to click there, and I'm going to make sure I'm selecting all records. Now I've got all 130 records. And now how do I get them over? I do the following. So I press Control-A, which is select all, right? That's a standard Windows key. So Control-A and Control-C is copy. So now I've copied that entire table of data, plus some other stuff I don't want, but I'll get rid of it. But I have all of that data available now by Control-C to copy it into the clipboard. Now let's go to Excel. And I think most of us probably have Excel, right? Like you can't really do much in business without having it. You can always go to Microsoft. And if you don't want to spend a few $100s to buy it, what I do is I pay like $7, $8 a month and I get a subscription. So I have Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Access, Publisher, basically all the stuff. So one way or another, you need Excel. So let's open a new sheet. Now I need to get that data into here. So this is just a simple procedure. I select a cell, I right click, and if I were to choose the paste option on the left, that would be messy because there's a bunch of formatting in HTML and that would muck it up. So here's the simple way. You just go to the item on the right and you say paste, and now I see I'm pasting all my stuff in there. And now I'm getting a bunch of stuff I don't want because that was from all the other page elements, but so what? So I'll select all of that and I'll say right click and delete. And there's a name for this activity, and if you're a data analyst, it's called extract, transfer, load. So we're extracting out of source system, we're transferring into another tool, and we're loading it up ultimately into Power BI. So I don't need any of this stuff either, so select and delete. And pretty much I could get, like, here's apartment if I'm doing a condo. That probably doesn't have any apartments, so I could get rid of that. So we'll say delete. Now I have a data set, right? That's called a data frame. And you see it's pretty good. So it's giving me type, description, municipality, which in this case I think is all just Toronto, so I could actually get rid of that. But let's say I'm doing something, I want to compare Ajax and Whitby or something. You know, that would be interesting to have municipality. And then here I have community, which I believe is probably all Bendale in that case. No, actually, it's we'll leave that in there.
Peter, we've lost you.
Sorry, question?
We lost you for a second there.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
yeah. So anyway, if I can repeat the procedure, once I go through the whole thing once, I'm just talking about it. Kind of, I'm talking a lot, but I can go through it more fast later. So here, if for some reason you of which list brokerages or co-op brokerages are more popular, you could do that. You could get the type of the basement. So if you wanted to maybe show a buyer what's the difference in selling price between having a basement apartment or not, you could do that. And I know this is going to set off all the alarms about privacy and stuff. If I wanted the seller's name, I could get it, but honestly, I don't know what good it's going to do me, so I'll throw it away just to simplify this down. And here's pool, right? A big question. How much does having a pool add or subtract to the selling price of the house? Well, let's do the experiment and find out, because we're seeing here about the pool, the status of the pool. I have MLS numbers I probably don't need, but I'll leave them there for right now. And here I have some free text fields. So once again, if I had an investor, they want an old broken down house, you know, in here you could search for things like TLC, handyman special, or whatever it is. But right now I think I'm probably pretty good. So now, first of all, I'm going to save my Excel sheet. So I'll say File, Save, and I'll dump it into some directory I'm going to remember because I'm going to need it in a minute. So I'll just make a directory here on my C drive. So I'll just call it, I don't know, Ed's Club or something that I'm going to remember. So say new folder.
The question here is, can you use Google Sheets?
No, you can't, for a reason I'm going to illustrate in a minute. Hang on to that question, and in 2 minutes I will show you why it must be Excel. But okay, for like $9, $10 a month, you can get a subscription to it, and it's a necessary thing. You do need to have that. So here I'm going to save this, and I'll just call it, sorry, that was like Bendale or something. I think that area doesn't matter. Just call it by some name. All right. Now here's the first reason why you cannot do Google Sheets, because we need to import this into Power BI. What's Power BI, I hear you asking? It is a data analytics dashboard, and I'm going to show it to you in a minute, but we need to get from Excel into Power BI, and to do that, we need to do a certain procedure. So I'm now going to hold the Control key on my keyboard and wheel back with my mouse so I can, drive out to see the whole thing. And I'm going to go up here on my top left cell, right? So the top of my data set, and I'll drag it all the way down here. So now all of my 150 records or whatever it is in here. Now remember what I said. Suppose for some reason you wanted to get out of the limitation of having only 200 returned at a time. I could pull 200, change the date range, another 200, change the date range as much as I wanted, because now I'm just copying and pasting it into Excel. But pay good attention to right here. I now need to make something called a named range. If you don't know what a named range is, you don't need to, right? You don't need to know how your car works or how your cell phone works to make a phone call, but you do need to do the procedure. So I'm going to click up on this box way up there on the top, and I'm going to give it any name such as data range 1 or something. And just press the enter key. And now all of that data is available in a named range. And that's why I cannot use Google Sheets, because I can't do that on Google Sheets. Why? Because Google Sheets is in the cloud. It's not on my local hard drive. So now I'm going to save this again, make sure all my changes are saved. Now, so that was our second step, right? So our first step here was we sourced the data from MLS, and now we structured the data in Excel. So the data that we copied over, we threw away the extra little bits from the screen we didn't need. We arranged it. We maybe deleted some stuff we just didn't want. And the main thing is we made a named range here in Excel. Now my Excel file is ready to go. And now, so source, structure, and present. So MLS, Excel. Now I'm going to Power BI. So now I go here. And after I've installed it, right, I can just launch it, go to Cortana, and say Power BI. And it's a business analytics dashboard. What's a business analytics dashboard? It's a tool which is made for the job of exactly what we're doing, which is taking data potentially from many different sources, right? Like if I had, I don't know, like another kind of a database which had some connection maybe by street or something, which maybe told me, I don't really know what else you'd want to correlate, maybe something like areas. Suppose I had some data Excel sheet which gave me the names of communities and then the number of community centers, or the average age of the people there, or whatever you want to name it. I could take those two and tie them together. I'm not going to do that today, but that's what a business analytics dashboard does. It takes data and it visualizes it, right? It lets you make nice reports easily. And yes, I know we can make graphs and charts in Excel, but after you see this, you're never going to do that again. Believe me, this is so much better. So let's go here and say get data. So now we get data, and then we find that place. Hopefully you remember the directory you saved it in. I think I called it Ed's Club. So I'm going to go here and say I want Excel, and you can actually get it from many different sources, right? Some interesting things I've done sometimes is you can go with connectors and you can go to Google Analytics, right? Sometimes, and something I'm playing with, if certain political terms or economic terms or whatever are trending, I've done reports where I've correlated house selling prices to other stuff that's going on, but not today. Today, let's just go and say we want Excel, and we say connect. Now we go and find our file, right? Because it's a file on the hard drive. If it's Google Sheets, I can't do this part. So I'm going to go here to my directory of Ed's Club, and there it is. And there's my Excel sheet. And if you do this over time, you can save those sheets, right? If you're, like Ed, and you're farming a certain area aggressively, in a couple of years, he's going to have 24 of those sheets, right? One for each month. And he could actually hook them together and show his people price trends and stuff. I mean, you can still do that. You can still go into MLS because it has data as far back as however long it's been around. But my point is, if you're already doing this in a certain area, just save your Excel sheets as a date timestamp or something so you have them for future. So now let's say open. And now remember we made a named range, right? So now Excel is going to say good, because an Excel sheet can be very big. So it's going to say, what do you want? And there I say, well, this thing I gave you, which I call data range 1. So that was my data range. There's my data. And now we say load. And now here, first of all, I'm going to save it, because once in a while, like any computer thing, it might get locked up or something, and I don't want to lose my work if I have to, you know, reboot or something. So I'm going to go and save it. So I'll say File, and once again, save it in some directory like Ed's Club. And now you see it's Power BI. So I'm going to call this Bendale. I don't even know what month it is. I'm so busy. I think it's July right now. So Bendale, July 2020. Bendale, July 2020. Good. Let's spend a couple of minutes to understand what we're looking at. So do you see over here on the right side of the screen, what do we have? Well, there is all of the fields from my Excel sheet, right? Remember, we had address and basement and list brokerage. And so every column, which has a field name on top, is available here. And here I have something, visualizations. Look at that. So we're going to get to visualizations in a minute, and then we can also do some filters and stuff. But the main thing I want your attention on right now is this. So I want you to pay attention over here. Now, Power BI has two segments of it. Oops, I opened two sheets, I guess. Well, okay, I'm just going to close one so I don't get confused. So over here, this main area is called the canvas. And this area over here is called the fields. And how do you use Power BI? Simplicity itself. You drag fields over to the canvas. When I drag the field over to the canvas, I have now created a tile. So let me go and summarize that. So simple how-to on using Power BI. So after you've imported your Excel sheet and named range, Excel sheet, and you point it to your named range, you drag fields onto the canvas. Every time you put a field on a canvas, you create a tile. And then tile is the basic unit by which we're working around. So this act of dragging a field onto the canvas creates a tile. So it creates a tile. And the tile is the basic unit of organization in Power BI. So let's do that. I think that's interesting. I want to do that. And I want to save this. If anybody wants it, I'll give you a Dropbox link to download it at the end. So I'll save this again in Ed's Club. There we go. Call it How to Use Power Data. Now here, and whatever you do after this is totally according to how you like to do it and what you want to show and so on. But I think I would like to see maybe current price trends, right? So I'm going to start maybe by dragging the street, because maybe I want to organize it by street. And the first thing you have, your first dimension becomes the organizer, like everything after that organizes itself according to the thing up there. So to start with, let's see if we can discern price trends among streets. I think probably there will not be a significant correlation, but I have to start somewhere. So I'll grab street name. See, I clicked on it. You see that I did that right there, click. And now I click and drag, and you see I've now created a tile. Now the first thing we see is Power BI is freaking amazing because it has identified that this is geographic, so it's giving me a visualization which is map-based. Now in this case, it is not meaningful, right? Because it doesn't really know what, I don't know, what's the name of the street over there, Cordis or something. It maybe thinks that's a city name. And I could do other stuff, and I have done stuff to show buyers maybe within Brampton or Mississauga. I've given them views which is showing it geographically located, but we'll get to that later maybe. So I go over here to visualizations and I observe something interesting. You see, selecting the tile, right, by default, because Power BI is very intelligent, it's based on AI technology. And it's saying, geez, that sure looks like a location name. I didn't give it enough context to giving me a meaningful location name. If I wanted to do that, I would have to organize it by street, city, and postal code and so on. But I'm gonna just ask for the simplest one, which is table. So you see table is over there, so I click, and now it is giving me all of my streets organized in a tabular format, and it's sorting it alphabetically, and I think that's mega cool. Having said that, I was the kid in high school that when everybody else went to the dance, I was at home programming my Commodore 64. So my definition of cool might be different than yours, but anyway, bear with me. Now, the next thing I would like to know is the average selling price on each street. So I'm going to go over here and get sold price, and you probably already jumped ahead and guessed what's going on. I drop it onto here, onto the tile. Whoops. Select. So you see now the check mark is there. Click and drag. Now, oh, I see, because I put it there twice. All right, so let's go over to here. Do you see this section of it right there, my values well? That's called a values well. That's pretty important. We'll be working with that a lot. So remember that term, values, because we're putting our values like in a well or something, like in the old village where they got water. So, and you see I managed to put sold price there twice. So I'm just going to get rid of one of it by Xing it out by clicking the X for delete. Now, here I'm seeing sold price, but Power BI loves to crunch data in different ways. So I have to be careful of something before I go and take that too seriously. Meaning that I have to go over to here, back to my values well, and you see street, because that's just text. There's not really much to be done with that. It's just don't summarize. Come on, it's text. Cut me some slack. I can't do anything with it, is what they're telling you. But here I go to the number stuff, right? So I go, oh, why am I not seeing anything? Because I clicked outside of my tile, right? So here I'm not seeing my values, but now I go and click and I select that tile again. Now I see them again. And let's look at sold price. And you see there, it's summing it. Is it of any value to some data? Hell yeah. If I'm showing an investor buyer, maybe they want to buy a condo in Toronto, I've had their eyes pop out of their head when I've showed them the different total dollar volumes of, you know, C07, Z01, Z02. And, you know, I think it's C01. Ed, I sent you that one. What was it like in the past year? It was a ridiculous number. It was like in the hundreds of billions. And other areas, it was maybe the total dollar value was like 100 million or something, which still isn't bad. But if an investor buyer was going to buy, they might prefer to go to the hotter areas everybody else wants. So anyway, I don't want some. I want to know the average selling price for each street. So I say average. And so that's kind of giving me some interesting information, right? So that's that. Now I'm going to do something else. I want to do another report. So I'll leave that there. Maybe I want to come back to it, but I'll click out of this tile. See, the line has gone away. Maybe buyer wants to know different prices across different types and styles, detached, semi, bungalow, 2-story, and so on. So let's go here and grab type. So we'll say type, and we'll be careful to drop it. Well, actually, it already made its own, tile. That's good. So here are my types. See, it's already titled it for me. So, yeah, that's good. I think it's missing one type, but anyway, that doesn't matter. Now let's go here. It's called description. Just because that was the name that was in my spreadsheet, I could have changed that to style. In fact, I think I could go and rename it here to style as well. Because normally we call that style, I think, right? So I'm going to click on there. So you jump down to there now to be alphabetical. And just clicking it made it select over here. Now here's the next thing I want, which is to know the average selling price. See how that works? Like I have detached 1.5, detached 2, and so on. And here I have some vacant land, which I don't know, maybe when the secretary in the office or something entered it, they didn't put anything in style. But anyway, that's okay. That's not going to hurt us. Now let's find the average selling price for each of these. Are called dimensions, by the way. Detached backsplit 4 is a dimension. Semi-detached bungalow is a dimension, and so on. So we'll go here and get sold price. So we'll say sold price. And right now, remember what that's giving me is actually the sum. So it's giving me the total dollar volume. I have an idea. Let's find out which of those dimensions buyers are preferring according to what they're spending the most amount of money on. Now, I could click on the dimension, and there I'm getting a lot, right? I'm actually getting, is that 37? Yeah. So $37 million in total was spent on detached bungalows. And then corresponding to the next one, it's going down, 7 million for detached side split and so on. And in the whole area, 700, is that right? 700, wait a minute, are we doing that right? Sorry guys, I didn't sleep much last night, bear with me. So that's 100, that's, I think it's 70 million. Now here's another thing. If I were to choose several other areas, maybe Mr. Mrs. Investor wants to compare that to maybe Etobicoke and Vaughan or something. So we could show her the total dollar volume across different areas. But I don't know about you guys, but it's tiring for me to try and factor that out. So let's drop another visualization on it. So we select and we go here. And you're not going to break anything, just play with it. So let's try and get a visualization that might give it a more meaningful rendition. How about that one? Everybody repeat after me. Ooh. Ah. So here we're saying, and it's according to color coding, right? So, and I'm sorry guys, I have to admit my I have a touch of color I don't like calling it color blindness. That's a negative word. But I have some color recognition challenges. But anyway, I could look up here. So if I hover over there, that's showing me my, and by the way, I can also, I'll show you how to format that later. So it gives you the commas and stuff, so you can break out the dollar amounts. But that's showing me that my detached bungalows are beating out everybody else combined. First of all, as realtors, we know that's telling us that's an older area, right? Because detached bungalows, they stopped doing those in the 70s. Anyway, doesn't matter. But that's kind of interesting. And now here, I see that I'm kind of limited in terms of how much I can get on one page, but nobody is stopping me from making more pages. So my first page, I don't know, I'll just call it like dashboard or something. And then here I might say, I don't know, give it some other name such as, sorry, my creativity is departing me. I'll just call it page 1 because that's the best I can do right now. So I'll go here and I'll copy and paste, right? So I'll select this visual. You see up there at the top, those 3 dots? Those are very important. Those are called the ellipsis. And the ellipsis is what you grab a handle on when you want to do stuff. I could remove it. I could spotlight it. We'll talk about that another day. But the main thing I want to do here is copy it. So I'll right click and say copy visual. Then I can go to another page. And maybe depending how I want to organize it, maybe I'll have one page for detached, another for semi, and so on. But just to show, that's what I said, like where you're going to go after this. See, I just pressed Control V to paste it in. Now you kind of know all the basic skills. Whatever you do after this is sort of according to your own requirements. See, semi-detaches are a very small player there, and townhouses basically don't even really count for much of anything. Or alternately, people who have townhouses love them so much, they say, I'm sure not selling them. If you have a small value there, you have to kind of know the situation to interpret what it means. Anyway, let me show you another couple of tricks. So I'm going to make another page here. And I'm just going to show you some other applications. But you have enough to go now. Like you know essentially about as much as I do on this. After this, it's just a matter of practicing. Well, here's an interesting thing. Suppose I wanted to compare the selling price of house across, and probably not many townhouses have pools. But anyway, let's not worry about that. So we're going to go here, and I'm just on an empty canvas, so I'll say pool. And it's only a couple of choices, right? It's above, below, or it's none. And I'm going to show you another thing here now. Selecting this tile. Now, here's another very important thing you need to pay attention to. So over here is my section of my Power BI editor where I'm manipulating stuff. So up here I see, that's my visualizations, right? So essentially different types of charts. If you're really into this, you can write your own Python programs. You can use R programming, or you can just use all of the graphs they taught you about in high school math class. But right now, let's go and see about these. So when I select this icon, I get my standard values well, as you've been seeing. And if I click here, the thing that looks like a paint roller, then that's formatting, which I'm going to show you. And now I have another odd guy here, and that's about analytics. And I'm not going to go into analytics today because you don't need them. I think it would, if you just concentrate on everything else I'm showing you, that'll be fine. You need to know a fair amount of statistics to use analytics. But if you really deeply need to know about it, if you ask, maybe I'll show you another day. But for right now, let's go and see about our formatting. So I'm going to go here. So I'm going to select this, what's it called? Tile. And I'm going to go to paint roller, which is formatting. See, it gives me the little helper thing there. And now I want to affect the appearance of stuff. So I'll go to values, and I can change the colors to maybe make it more outstanding or something. And now I'm going to go, or if you want to change the font, I don't know if you're a big font aficionado, go for it. You can make it bigger to make it easier for people to read. See? And I'm going to drag that out to make it wider. And I'm going to show it, oh yeah, so that was most of what I wanted to show you. You can also go here to field formatting, and I need to show you on numbers here because the next thing applies to giving nice formatting to numbers to give it the comma separators on the thousands and stuff. Now, what would we probably like to know? Well, we wanted to see about pricing differences, right? So you guys already know what to do. You could probably tell me at this point. So I'm going to go here, make sure this tile is selected, select sold price. Now I definitely want average, right? That's very important. So I go here to my values well. So see there, I click there and I get values and pool. Well, it's text. There's not much to be done with it, so just let it be the way it is. But sold price. And generally, I'm more preferring to use median than average. Because average, if you have an extreme high outlier or something, that could skew it. Median, as we remember from grade 11 math, is whatever number occurs most frequently in the list. So anyway, I'm going to go with median for right now. And
Peter,
now let's try dropping. Oh, sorry, question?
Peter, do me a favor.
Yep.
Would you stop sharing screen and restart?
Oh, sure, not a problem. Probably I'm giving out too much information. I messed up.
No, no, I did something in my end. I'm trying to record this.
Oh, not a problem here. So
I closed your screen and I didn't by error.
Just a second here. So I'm on Zoom. How do I, where's my tools?
At the very top, hover at the very top on the screen that you're sharing. You'll get a drop down.
Return to meeting. Do I want that?
Yeah, return to meeting.
Oh, yes. Okay, I got it now. So I'll say, oh, actually, probably didn't want to stop video. I wanted to, oh, there's new share.
Okay, so start sharing again. Sorry about that. That's my
Not a
fault.
problem. So are you guys good? You can see it now? Can you see my thing now?
No, I don't see it.
All right, let's try again here. So it says I'm screen sharing. Okay, good. So new share, screen, and oh, interesting. You share computer audio. I didn't know that. And share. Is it going now?
No.
Do you want me to like totally bail out of the Zoom meeting and come back? Maybe that'll reset me.
No, let me take over the screen for a second.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Alrighty, I've just taken over the screen.
yeah.
Now I'm going to stop sharing. So now we got you back up there. I think you should be able to see it now. Everybody see the screen?
Do you see my screen with my Power BI stuff?
I see the screen and it's got in front of it untitled presentation, switch
Yeah,
screen
that's it.
243. Is that okay?
You're back on, Peter. Thanks, Sherry.
Okay.
Okay, so are you guys seeing my Power BI now?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so I'm not sure how much you might have missed, but I repeat myself a lot, so hopefully not too much
No,
now.
just about 15 seconds, that's all.
Okay, so what I was saying is a common thing people might have asked you as a realtor is how much does having a pool add to the property? Is it positive, neutral, or negative? Come on, guys, we're among friends. You actually don't really know, do you? But now you can have good data to show them. So now here I'm saying my different styles of pool and across every type and across every description and so on. But that kind of doesn't really reach out and grab me too much. So what do we do next? And probably you've already said, well, let's lay a graph visual on it. So selecting this tile, and then let's go over here and just play with it, right? Because you're not going to break something. So what happens if I select a line and clustered column chart? It sure sounds official. So all I need to do is click. And actually, that's kind of interesting, right? So not really that much, I guess. Above ground pool. So comparing to having no pool, first of all, there's not much of a difference at all. And I used to own a house with a pool when my kids were smaller. And you have to take care of it and stuff, but I liked it because they brought their friends over. Now we didn't want to manage that anymore, so we just got rid of it. But anyway, so that's one thing you can do. Let's see about some of the other stuff we can do here. So, oh, I have an idea. Let's look at days on market. So we're going to go here back to dashboard. And now I'm getting a, so that's my sold price. So I'm going to select this tile. And I'm going to go here and say, just show it to me in the simple tabular format. So that's giving me a sold price. But Peter, I hear my buyer or my seller asking, is my type of house going to take longer or less long to sell? I don't really know, Mr. Seller. Instead of guessing, let's look at the data. So we'll go here and grab days. So I'm selecting, make sure I'm in this tile, and we'll say days. And once again, we remember it's a number, so it's aggregating it. And in this case, we definitely want average. So we'll go to our values well, and we'll say days. And we will say average in this case, I guess should be safe. And once again, I don't immediately get a sense of what that means, so I'm going to drop a visual on it. So selecting this tile. And oh, by the way, so if you're doing a lot of mapping, I think for like $20 a year or something, you can subscribe to the ArcGIS map visualization for Power BI. It's really cool. I would show it to you, except it takes a while to set up. And I think after this, you'll probably be tired. But if you really need to see it another day, maybe we can do another training. So what if I try, I don't know, just fool around. Oh, so that's interesting, but not necessarily that easy to interpret. So here, we're seeing that detached bungalows, oh, actually, I'm still getting price. What did I do here? Okay, let's go back. Oh, yeah, you cannot have too many dimensions. I mean, dimension is just the data analytics term for field. If you want a graph, like restrict yourself to about 3 dimensions. So I'm going to select this again, go back to my table, and I'll get rid of price because I can show price in another thing. So click to get rid of it. Oh, actually, I got rid of days too. So let's put them back. And you can also move stuff around. Sometimes, and again, it depends on what you want to show and what you think looks good. But do you see I can drag my dimensions up and down in my values well? And once again, choose days and go to your values well and make sure that because days doesn't really make that much sense to sum it up. So I'll ask for average or median. And then once again, I'll drop a visual on it. So again, depending what you want, that's sort of brokering it out against style, but I want something less busy. So you see here, detached houses across every style are selling pretty quickly. And vacant land might take like 90 days to sell. And there it's a townhouse that seems to be not as popular, I guess. But if it's a 3-story townhouse, it's 11. If it's a 2-story, so how would you really know that if you didn't have this tool, right? The human brain is good for a lot of things, art, poetry, music, philosophy, but crunching numbers is not one of them. That's why we have these tools. So semi-detached, I have only bungalows. I don't have like splits or something there, probably because in that area they were all torn down and you know, they rebuilt a new house on it. And then over here, right, it can show me it's roughly something around 22 days. And if it's a detached backsplit 4, that was popular. So anyway, let's do another experiment now. So we're going to, and right now you actually know about 80% of what I wanted to show you. I'm just showing you other applications. So if you're starting to get
soon, Peter. So
what's that? Actually, let me just, in that case, let me show you one more thing, which is also pretty cool. So I'm going to choose the tile and I'm going to go back to a table. And maybe I would like to know how many houses, right? So that's giving me an aggregate of 2-story townhouses and so on. But suppose I want to know the exact number of houses involved. I have the ability to do something called counting. So to make it counting work, I have to find a dimension to count. And remember at the beginning, I said I'll get rid of MLS. Then I said, no, wait, let's keep it. We might need it. Because one thing we know about MLS is it's unique. Even if it's one property that has been terminated and relisted 5 times, MLS is still unique. So let's we'll select this tile and we'll select MLS. And this time I want to do a new thing here. I don't care what the value is, but I would like to know how many I have. So I'll go to MLS and I will say count distinct, right? So here, that tells me that I had 13 detached 2-story. I had almost 70 detached bungalows. Like detached bungalows are big there because it's an older area. Detached side split 3, I had 12. So that's also another good information. Now let me really quickly wrap this up because Ed is tapping his wristwatch impatiently and giving me the look. So I'll just show you one more thing here, which is
I wanted to say something, Peter. That is that Power BI, I've been checking. This is amazing. It's actually even on Apple's iPad and it's on MacBook too. So I know Mark had a question if it would work on numbers. If it'll work on Apple, I'm sure it probably would work on numbers, which is the same.
Sorry, what's numbers again? I'm not sure what that means.
It's Apple's version of Excel.
Oh, yes, of course it would. Basically,
because
it would.
Yeah,
actually, because I have a Mac computer myself, I can do the experiment. But yeah, anything that's within the operating system that can register a database connection, I'm sure it would. So now let me just really quickly, Ed, just give me 2 more minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So now we've got all this data. So now what's the next thing we want? So remember at the beginning, I said, let's grab a screenshot of the map. And now I could take multiple of my visuals, whatever, according to whatever I want, right? So now I've acquired a number of visuals here, right? So I've gotten all of these and I've dressed them up. What's wrong with, so Like, guys, people flip when they see this. Like, people, I've watched them in open houses, right? I have this stuff, and their eyebrows shoot underneath their hairline. So this is like very impressive to people. So I'm just demonstrating that I can take several of my graphs. Like, now you're saying, okay, Peter, that's amazing, but what do I actually do with it once I get it? Whatever you want, but here's a standard workflow that I follow. So now I've accumulated, right? I've just used my Snagit, or I don't know, use like Paint Shop Pro, whatever you like. And I could put my branding here, Peter Sigurdson, EXP Realty, whatever it is. And then I can go and drop that up on my Facebook page. And whenever I've done that, especially because the last couple of months I've sort of been sidelined on something. But when I do this consistently 3 or 4 days a week, I get likes on my Facebook page. I get email inquiries. Like, people want this information. It's very eye-catching. And except for me and for you guys on the call, this is not information that's accessible to anybody else. So that's it. Thank you very much for your attention. That's what I had to say.
Peter, I thought it was fabulous, just fabulous. And I want to show you something too, Peter. I can see now that what Peter just did, once you do this a few times, you can do it in about 10, 15 minutes flat. You'd be finished, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you something. While you were talking at the end there, I put it on my iPad. This is the version.
Sorry, Ed, if you mean to see something, you might not be sharing your screen. Maybe I'm still sharing.
Oh, they're looking at my picture.
Oh, because why am I not seeing it then?
Yeah, it's not on the screen, Ed. I'm looking at your picture.
Oh, do you see me?
I see you. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a long time. You look great.
What do you see here?
I see your iPad.
That's
in
right.
The picture.
And this is BI, Power BI on an iPad.
Oh my goodness.
If you were doing a listing presentation, you can put it right on your iPad and take it with your presentation like Peter just did. So you could do it on Mac or on Windows with no problem. I love it. I think it's great. And I'm going to go in and practice it. It's like, well, we have a program with our company called KV Core we get. And I'm pretty good with CRM. As a matter of fact, I had an accredited course with CRM I taught. And I just decided to learn it one day. So I put 20 minutes a day. I said, I'm going to spend 20 minutes a day learning this thing. Peter, I'm going to spend 20 minutes a day learning this because I can see if I took this on a listing presentation showing the knowledge I have of the neighborhood, I don't care if I ever sold a house in that neighborhood, I still know everything about it. I thought your presentation was amazing. Thank you.
And just one more final wrap-up comment I wanted to make. So you guys, I guess, can see this little cartoon I'm showing on the screen. Because the big problem we have with realtors, as realtors, well, we have problems with realtors too, but let's not go there. The big problem we have as realtors is getting people to comprehend what we're saying. I was talking to a guy about a week ago, and he's somebody I knew from way back in the day, and he, his parents passed, so I said, oh, that's too bad, I'm sorry. And he said, I have to sell the house, and yeah, well, that's the way of life. Again, I'm sorry for the loss, but yeah, that's just life. And anyway, he was saying, how much do you charge for commission? I said 2.5%. And he said, no, that's too much. Other agents will do it for 0.1%. So I went into the standard language we have. Do you really want an amateur who doesn't know how to get the job done selling your parents' house they spent their entire life building the equity in? And that sort of impacted him a little bit, but he didn't say anything. And then I had the discussion, which we always use when we're discussing price. How much money do you want to lose? He said, what are you talking about? I said, in every area, houses have an average selling price, right? That's simple math. If you give a math test to 34 children in grade 6, there will be an average because that's what average is. And there will be some students who went below average and some who went above average. And in every area, there's an average selling price, but there's a couple of houses that sell for 10 or 15 or 20% more, and a couple of houses that sell for 10 or 15 or 20% less. And that difference, getting you to the top, is what you're paying me 2.5% for. So I worked out the math, and I showed him that the difference between getting a top of area price and an average price, or God forbid, a below average price, is much more than my 2.5% commission. And I asked him, you know, the standard language, if you're going fishing, do you want to get the biggest fish or save the most money on bait? And anyway, he was starting to crumble, but we know they're brainwashed. They're psychologically brainwashed to repeat like little cult members. I'm only paying 1% commission. I'm only paying 1% commission. Baba loves truth. So I basically went through a Power BI presentation with him, and I showed him the numbers, and I showed him the average, and I showed him the difference between top of average and bottom of average. And when you can actually show charts and graphs, that seems to be what breaks through people's thinking. And that's what I want you guys to get excited about. End of my talking. Oh, anyway, why I put this cartoon here, why it reminded me, because this is what we think we're saying. We think we're telling the customer something, but this is what we think we're saying. We want 2.5% commission. And the customer sees it as being like this, and this is what they think they want to pay, never gaining optics on the fact that all they want is a simple job done right at the end. So anyway, that's the end of my talking. So that's good.
Okay.
I talk too much, my wife tells me so.
Any other questions in the chat column there? No, Mark, we got you answered there. Mac works with numbers, no Google Sheets. Sorry about that. Okay. Hey, everybody. Hi, Sherry. Haven't seen you in years. So nice to see you.
I know, it looked the same. Actually, Peter and Ed, this was absolutely fabulous. Ed, you know, I used to do all my own stats and I'm an accountant in 1990 before all this took place. I've been out of the business for a bit and I've come back and I've been smacked on the side of the head with technology. But Peter, you presented this so well. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I see the idea and everything behind, and I'm definitely going to grab hold of this because I love numbers.
Nice.
That's great. And I've recorded this today, so I'm going to upload it, and then I'm going to send another email to everybody. I have over 600 agents in the database there that I send this out to. So let your friends know about it too, because if they go to edsclubs.com and register, this is no company promotion. We have so many good agents. Why the heck do we pay these trainers to come in when we can train ourselves? No trainer is going to show you what Peter showed us today because they don't know it.
Well, you know,
and the trainers never sold real estate in most cases.
True. And on a quick note, Peter, you know, we all know that 1 and 1 can equal 3, and I love doing my own numbers because I see my actual facts. And it's really good when you do go in with that. That used to get me listings all the time. And it's skewed with the Toronto board at times, but we know by doing it ourselves, we have really great insight, well presented. I'm excited about it. Ed, I'm still trying to deal with Facebook, but I'll get to this.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else got to say? Dale, I hope that works at your MLS system. As long as you can paste it, grab the data, I'm sure you can paste it in. Everybody else okay? All right, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Peter, thank you. I'm going to stop recording this now, and then I'll have it uploaded to the website so that you can check back. You say, well, God, I remember this or that, okay? So it'll be uploaded to the website. I'll probably put it on Vimeo, which is better than YouTube, in my opinion. Take care. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Bye-bye.
See you.